Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out the Pico Neo 3 Link. So as I said in the intro, today we're going to be checking out the Pico Neo 3. Now of course, that's going to be versus the Quest 2, because this is supposed to be the new competitor. Or is it? So we're going to do a full breakdown of both headsets, a quick unboxing of the new Pico Neo 3 Link, which is now going to be starting to be sold across Europe as of I think about a month's time of now. So Pico have been kind enough to send me over this headset for free so I can check it out, but my opinions are completely my own. I'm not being paid for anything, and I'm going to let you know whether this is worth it or whether this really isn't worth it. You should still stick with buying a Quest. The only real differences being in these two is the Pico has a slightly higher resolution screen and has the DP connection, basically giving you like a lossless connection to your PC so that you don't lose any of it, and it kind of gives you just a more clearer PCVR experience over the link cable, because this is done via a USB-C instead of a DP cable. Some of the other differences are with the Quest, the battery and everything is housed up front, giving you the ability to change the head straps like the one I have on here now, the Bobo VR, and giving you the ability to be able to have a lot more customization within the headset itself. Well, the payoff for that is it's quite a front heavy headset, and after a long time you are going to feel the fatigue of having that little bit of extra weight on there. Honestly, in this day and age, I feel like I'm personally just so used to this now, it doesn't really bother me, but I know for some users it definitely does. The advantage difference between that and the Pico is the Pico has done it slightly different. They have put the battery at the back and they have all the guff in the front, which means it kind of leaves it a very well balanced headset, meaning comfortable for longer. Or at least that's the idea. Both headsets work in the exact same way when it comes to the DPI selection. You have the small, medium and large all in the same sort of bracket of sizes as the Quest and the Pico. They work in the exact same way, so for that side of things it's really no different. Now I think it's time to open it up and see what's inside. So inside here we have these two boxes, which we'll check out in a second. We have the headset itself and the controllers. Let's start by popping out this headset and taking a freaking little look. So there's like an array of buttons on this. We have a bunch on the side here, which I will go over in a minute. We also have the connection up here for the PC, so that you can connect it and become a PC VR headset. The on button. And that is, oh, and some volume rockers down here, as well as a audio jack in. Inside of here we also have the controllers right and or left. These are kind of interesting. Actually, a little bit more comfortable than I was expecting when I looked at the size of them. Buttons feel quite nice. Everything feels quite clicky and quite nice. I like that. Joysticks feel quite responsive. I like that. Interesting button layout. Again, there's a lot of buttons on this thing. I don't really know what all these different buttons do, but I guess we'll find out as we go through there. So we have two batteries for each controller, which is different because the Quest runs off of a single battery. The Quest also has pretty much like a magical life force built into it because the batteries never end, so I'd be really interested to see if they've managed to pull that off. What do we have in the box? Bing! We have ourselves an information leaflet. Quite literally, nobody cares about. We have a glasses spacer, which again, not really that useful for me, but good to know that they include it in the box. We have a charging cable, which seems to be a pretty reasonable length. USB-C to USB regular. Also interesting, they supply a nose cover for this thing so that you can optionally put the nose cover in for light blocking. I personally really don't like nose covers, so that can go to one side. What do we have in the second box? Let's take a little look and see. I think this is going to be the interesting part of this, because this, my friends, is the link cable that they send with it, which is pretty cool. This thing looks like a very decent length. So this link cable, as far as I'm aware, works in a very similar manner to pretty much like how the Steam Vives and everything used to work back in the day. So, oh my god, unclip everything. So we have this very interesting cable connector that goes onto the headset, which actually has to be screwed in, which is kind of interesting. So welcome to the Pico Neo Home. This is the environment that you're met with, and this is the games library. Now there's quite a few good selection of games on here. Of course we're missing the exclusive stuff from Meta, but you know, that's obviously to be expected. We're not going to see Pop 1 and various other games in this at the moment. But maybe it will get better over time. I guess time will tell. The room itself is kind of like an IKEA-esque looking room. So we are in Crisis the Arcade, and I'm just trying to take a look at things. Actually looks pretty freaking crispy in this game. I'm kind of excited. It's also a game that I'm kind of familiar with, that we can also test on the PC as I own it on PC, but initial impressions, it looks pretty decent. The controllers are okay to hold. I feel like I have to kind of overextend the wrist a bit to aim the gun correctly. But again, these are things that can be sort of fixed with software, so not a massive issue. Controller does feel kind of nice. I still stand by the fact that this control does feel a little bit sort of tacky in a weird way. Like, I just feel like it's got a bit of crunch to it when you're holding it. I also kind of feel like these bits are just begging me to hit a wall and break them clean off. But, you know, you can't win them all. I'm undefeatable. What are you saying, son? Oh my god. I love that I say I'm undefeatable right as the exact point that someone shoots me right in the freaking noggin. One thing I'm definitely noticing is this does feel incredibly light on the head. It's not the most comfortable headset I've ever used in my life, but it is definitely nice and light, and the weight distribution is pretty freaking solid as things go. Hell yeah, get wrecked. Oh, you shot me in the face, you ruddy fool. Mission accomplished. Okay, initial impressions. I like this. It looks good in here, in the actual headset. So now we get into the interesting side of things. Now, you've seen me play this standalone. I had a good time with it. Everything looked pretty crispy, looked pretty nice. There is a bit of a weird distortion around the edges of the lenses, which I don't really like. And I've heard about other headsets having this before. I've never actually experienced it myself with the headsets I own, but this really, I didn't like that about it, if I'm honest. And it's enough to almost put me off of using it, because I don't like having that peripheral vision being sort of skewed. And I don't know whether that's something that can be done software side or whether it's something that's hardware side. For now though, that kind of makes that a little bit iffy. The real problems really came in when I tried to use this as a PCVR headset. Now, I've seen conflicting things come in, as other reviewers have already got their stuff out on this at this point, and this is actually like the third time I've recorded this section of the video, because I keep trying to go back to it and fix the issues, and I have done to a certain extent, but really let's talk about where the problem started. So initially, when I set up the PCVR side of things, I downloaded their app, which is fine, had no issues with that, got it going, then I plugged it all in, screwed in the little DP connector and everything's fine. Then it started disconnecting from me, and I'm like, oh man, what the hell is going on? Maybe it's something on my end of things, I have no idea. Then audio started going bizarre, it was like, and I'm like, okay, not really sure what's going on here either. So I've persisted, spoke to other creators, asked them for advice, and yeah, I've kind of finally got to the part where I finally got everything working after like uninstalling SteamVR, reinstalling SteamVR, uninstalling the Pico app, reinstalling the Pico app, using different DP ports, using different USB ports, because I'm like just frantically trying to get this thing to work. Eventually got it all working after like numerous bizarre issues, things for where like it was minimalizing everything and my hands were like half size what they should have been, all the way to, like I say, this audio cut out and everything. Eventually, finally, after like literally 2 days of problem solving, I finally got this thing going, and I've got to say, picture quality, good. But again, the spatial warping part of this, I don't like it, and I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology here, but like I say, it's like the image almost curls in on itself a little bit at the edges of the lenses. If you're moving around too fast, it kind of feels a bit like gross, man. It kind of gives you like a motion sickness sort of almost feel. And I mean, I've been doing this for like 6-7 years at this point playing VR. I don't really get motion sickness unless you put me in an incredibly fast vehicle. Sometimes that'll do it to me. But past that, I don't really suffer with that as an issue. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised and saddened to say that that side of it really isn't for me. In fact, making this headset almost not for me, which is a shame, because I really had high hopes for this and I really wanted to see it do well. But let's really talk about the headset in its general form now, because we are talking about the Quest versus this. And unfortunately for me right now, this really isn't being edged out at all. The Quest is still king as far as I'm concerned in this. If you really hate Facebook and perhaps you don't want to have a Facebook login, then maybe that would be enough to push you towards this headset. But I would honestly say, genuinely, you're better off buying a Quest, a nice head strap, and then you're going to really love this thing. Now, I kind of want to talk about some of the pros and cons of this headset, so let's kind of wrap up with that as my final thoughts on the Pico Neo 3 Link. Now for me, there's some things that the company has done incredibly well at, and I think that maybe when we come to the next version of this, which I have a sneaking suspicion isn't going to be that far away, considering they are offering a 35% discount for people that buy into the Pico Neo 3. So they can't be that far off of it in my opinion. Now for me, build quality for this headset itself is actually pretty good. There's some things I don't like about it and some things I do like about it. The weight distribution side of things, I think is very good. Facial interface sucks, man, it sucks. It's so stiff, it leaves you with the red ring around your face after you've got off with it. It's not very comfortable foam that they've used on it. So third-party accessories are going to be a freaking must for this. I mean, it is so dense, it's horrible to put on your face. One of the other things I'm really not keen on is the controller. Now to hold, it's actually not too bad of a controller to hold, but the build quality on this thing is just not great. There is so much flex in this thing that I'm pretty sure if I punched it one time on a wall, this ring, this halo is just going to snap clean off, and that to me just, I mean, it happens. It really does. It's an occurrence. It's a thing that happens. Speak to anyone who's been playing VR long enough. They are going to punch the controller into a wall at some point or something in their house. It's happened to us all. And I just feel like this thing is just going to break in half. So if you guys and girls have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will do my best to get back to you and answer any questions that you have. Right now, brass tacks, if someone asks me, gun to the head, which headset you're going to buy, I would still stick with buying a Quest personally, because of similar sort of price, you could buy the Quest, a decent head strap, maybe even a facial interface kit, and have a bitchin' Quest. Right now, I just don't feel the same way about the Pico. Now, doesn't mean to say that later down the line they are not going to rectify these issues and make this a headset well worth buying, but right now that is my honest opinion. We will definitely follow this up with another video later down the line, maybe after I've used this thing for a couple of months and get my real feelings on this overall product. But I can say after the best part of half a week of owning this thing, it's not wowed me. So that's a real shame. I was looking forward to this and I had high hopes of making this my new daily driver for PCVR, and unfortunately it just doesn't hold up. If you enjoyed this, please do smash like, subscribe. These things take a long time, so those two things really do help. If you've enjoyed this, thank you, good sir and good madam. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!